Welcome to the Stacked Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
We are back from the Stack Supplement Podcast interview, and today I have my good friend Thomas Ryder from Applied Nutrition, which is I didn't know this originally, but it is one of the biggest sports nutrition brands in the UK. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shane. It's an honor to be on your show.
So I came across Applied because I remember I met you at FIBO. Lucas was like, "Oh, this is Thomas from Applied," and back then my English ability wasn't that great, and you were a really, really fast talker. And I know that when we were conversing, I was like, "Oh man, this is too much." And I had met Andrew from Novo, and he is also quite a distinct, different accent. And I didn't know too much about Applied, but over the years, like it's been like 5 years since I've known you, and
yeah,
Applied's a beast. I didn't know that it was like. And it's because I've talked to a few other people in the UK and they say things like, "Oh yeah, we'd like to get up there one day with the likes of Applied." And I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know that Applied was kind of in that upper realm. So how long has the brand actually been around for?
We started the brand in 2014, Shane, and we started to gather momentum around about 2016 early, and we just grew from there. Continue to grow the product portfolio, continue to be innovative, to bring out products that are stacking highly against competitive products, kept the price competitive, and just kept the momentum going and on an upwards spiral, you know. And thank God we've managed to grow to where we are today, and hopefully continue for the next 3 to 5 years to where we want to be.
When you came into the market, like, did you have, because I don't know if this is the case with you, but most brands kind of have that flagship product, like USP Labs had Jacked, Grenade had its Fat Burner. Was there anything that you guys had that, I know I'm thinking it was ABE, but I could be wrong. I don't really know.
No, and that's what a lot of people probably do think, but no, that's not correct. No, we did have a flagship product, and it was Critical Mass. It was our mass gainer. So
the gainer, the big. Oh shit! Yeah, that's right.
So it was like
so that was kind of that was the pioneer of the brand. That was kind of because it was a yellow bag originally.
Yeah, like a big yellow bag.
I remember this because when you rebranded, you were like, "Oh, it's a new look," and I hadn't heard of it before. And then when I looked online, I was like, "Jesus, that's nothing like what you see applied now."
So, and I look back, you know, Shane, I look back at some of the old photos and the old pictures, and I cringe. I like, oh, I don't want to see it. Don't let me look. But I suppose it's good to look back and see how far it's come. But when I do look back, I just think, oh, wow,
It's crazy because it's not even. I don't know. There are many other products that you've done that I would say you're known for well before Critical Mass.
But when we started the brand in 2014, it was only Critical Mass, really. That was the only product that sold. It was the only product that was noticeable to Applied Nutrition. And it was back at the time when people liked high sugar, high calorie weight gainers,
1,200 calories.
You know what? It's funny because we stopped doing this product in 2017, I think it was, and we reformulated it to a more professional, low sugar, 2 grams of sugar per serving, clean carbs.
You brought it back, didn't you?
I brought it back because the demand is high calorie, high sugar. So we've got 2 mass gainers now. We've got the Mass Original, which we brought back last year. And then we've got the Mass Professional, which is like me personally, I think it's the most superior mass gainer on the market, because people still think that mass gainers should be derived around high sugar, which I don't believe. I think clean carbs is a better formula for a mass gainer. So, but we've got both anyway. But yeah, so back to 2014, wow. Critical Mass was the driving force.
I think it was last year. You hit me up. You're like, "Oh, we're bringing back the original Critical Mass." And I remember researching this for a good 10 minutes because I was like, what the fuck's he talking about? He already has Critical Mass. And then I tried to go back and back and back. And I'm like, these are all the same. I had to go, way back to the yellow one. That's how I knew it was yellow. And I was like, oh shit, this is what you're talking about. Because I couldn't figure out what you were meaning. But man, I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah.
But that was kind of back then, was around the time, I guess, you still had a lot of the I know Elite Labs USA, they were doing like a 20-pound bag. You had Farmer Freak, you had Mutant Mass, of course, Serious Mass from Optimum. That was kind of the realm where the gainers were big. And I remember, yeah, that's crazy. But you've done a shitload of other products since then. Like I said, that's far from what I would have known. And most notably, again, ABE, All Black Everything, the pre-workout, that seems to be, I would assume, your biggest seller, your best seller.
Yeah, it's our leading product for sure, and growing. I would say it's the best-selling pre-workout in the UK currently. Most markets that we do go into, it becomes a favourite amongst consumers. It demands a lot of shelf space. We've got a lot of flavours, which demands more shelf space. But yeah, it's our leading product for sure. Yeah.
It's a very robust formula, and I think it's worth knowing that it's how to explain this. I've talked to people before, and I'm like, sort of the top selling pre-workouts aren't always that well dosed, whether you're looking at stores or countries and whatnot. It's kind of like C4 Extreme, how they had their mainstream pre-workout, and then they evolved into the better and more advanced versions. But All Black Everything is impressive because it's not light. It's pretty solid. Like the formula is pretty robust, and to sell well to be a top seller and have a respectable formula is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, and you know what, Shane? I see a lot of pre-workouts popping up these days, and we've looked at it ourselves, because you can always upscale a formula. You can always increase dosages. You can always implement some of these novel food, they're called in the UK. Your trademarked ingredients. We've tried them ourselves, your tea cream, your dynamine, and we still use one of them within one of our flavors now. But does it really add much more to the benefits of the product? I don't know, to be totally honest with you. But what it does do is it restricts you from export. A lot of countries, they don't like novel foods status ingredients. A lot of countries, ingredients are not recognized, so therefore they won't allow them. So we wanted to keep our formula robust, like you said, familiar. So the ingredients are all familiar. They're all
citrulline, creatine, caffeine, and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're all compliant, and they're all at good dosages. But when we initially brought it out, I always felt that pre-workouts were underdosed. I mean, I'm not going to name a brand or a specific brand. I just mean in general, pre-workouts always felt to me underdosed, because I'm a big pre-workout user, have been forever. I'm a big supplement user, have been since the age of like 15, 16. And I always felt that they were underdosed. So when we started manufacturing in-house, and we were able to, and AB was one of the first products that we produced when we started manufacturing in-house, one of the first products that we formulated and produced in-house. And obviously when we're going through the testing stage and we're putting the correct dosages in per formula, because we must have tried 200-300 different formulas. Everybody at Applied Nutrition every day was just like pre-workout to the max, and then I started to realize, okay, so these dosages for this formula, we've put in the correct amount of dosage at what we're saying, and we're getting much more of an effect than we are with this one, which is saying that it's got even higher dosages. We're thinking, are these underdosed, these other pre-workouts, or is, I don't know. So we thought, you know what, this formula is right for us. We've done a lot of research. We've got a lot of feedback from a lot of the gyms, and it's right. The dosages are correct. The formula's bang on, and for us, it's just grew and grew and grew, that product, and because it's a solid product, robust formula, and it works.
I mean, I think people, I like I said, it's not probably like the highest dose, most intense thing out there, but I think when it comes to top selling pre-workouts, it's a different game altogether. Like you said, you have to take into account, if you want to produce 20 different versions for 20 different countries, you want to make something that sells well, has a good price point, can sell to stores, can sell to distributors. It's a different game entirely, I think. And I know, I think Celicore is probably one of the best examples, because best-selling pre-workout, as they say in the US. And it's like when they tweak something, when they add this or take away this, like increasing cost, decreasing, it all plays in. And I'm like, when a product makes that much money, you have to know that they're putting in what they need to put in for it to do well, much like yourself. And I think it's a different game to be able to do that. And I know that when I went to Dubai, ABE was what I bought, because I have a few brands that I like when I go to different countries, and I'm like, look, I need a protein. I don't know half the brands on the fucking shelf, so I gotta go with who I know. Internationally, it's usually Optimum. Like, they're the ones who are always kind of there. In Europe and the UK, sometimes SciTech. And when I was in Dubai, I saw ABE, and compared to everything else that was on there, it was just the one that this is for the price. Prices were much higher than I expected, but for the price and all the competitors, it was the easy choice. Because I remember I told you, and you said to me, why the fuck did you buy it? I needed something that day. I needed something to use that day. And it was, and I was, again, the formula was unchanged. And I knew the formula. I had experienced it before. It was more than enough. And I think that continuity is key, because I've always said this with brands worldwide, is you don't want someone being like, I need the US version, or I need this version or that version. You want people to be able to share and describe and have the same experiences. And yeah, when you get the intense stuff, like in the US, even in the UK, they have to change from country to country. And it's I remember back in the day, there was a UK brand, and they did a fat burner, was well-known fat burner, came to Australia and New Zealand. And I remember being like, oh shit, it made it out here. I look at the formula, it wasn't even remotely the same. Like it was like they were, instead of some brands who would take something out, add something in, they just took it all out. It was like caffeine, B vitamins. And I was like, this is sad. But it's like you said, you're a specialist in that area where you make something to apply to a broad audience. And you're right, the ingredients in ABE, I don't think wouldn't be accepted by any. They're widely available.
Yeah, and you're absolutely bang on. So when we formulate the product, we've got to take into consideration, we want to register in KSA, we want to register in Kuwait, Australia, Japan, China. So that formula, we don't want to be changing the formulas for each country. We don't want to have more labels. We don't have to have stock for Australia, stock for we want one product that can go into all countries, but it has to be good. It has to be a very good, strong product. And that's what we did with ABE. And we're our fat burner, our all black everything fat burner, which is called ShredX. We're starting to build momentum with that now, Shane. And it's starting to go in the same direction as the ABE pre-workout did. However,
that's in capsules, right?
We do two versions, the capsules and the powder.
Yes,
but the powder is outperforming the capsules like 5 to 1.
I always thought the powder was easier to get into a lot of countries. I always thought I know Australia has issues with it, so most people have always gone with powders.
Yeah, you're correct. Powders are much easier from a compliance perspective, which I did not know, because I'm more of a capsule user, just because I think it's easier, because I like my powders to be pre-workout. But no, I was incorrect on that. The ShredX powder outperforms the capsules, and people do prefer to have the powder. And funny enough, in Australia, we've just registered it now. We have to.
You went through the whole process.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
Jesus.
But we work closely with our partners over in Australia. Nutrition Warehouse. So,
yeah.
So them guys are just like sorry, Shane, I've knocked you off here. So them guys are just they're just amazing to work with. They're hard working, and they are right next to us, toe to toe. So they handle a lot of the registration work for us. And like I said, the ShredX powder we've just registered. We had to remove one of the ingredients. It wasn't an active ingredient, funny enough. So it was only betaine anhydrous, which can be used for uptake, and it could be used for many other inactive reasons. So we removed that. Shane, I can see you looking at me as if to say, why is betaine anhydrous being removed? I don't know either.
I know Australia has some weird is last year was when it came in. They introduced all these rules where it was like, I just remember hearing the rules and I'm like, that could apply to so many fucking things. Like they were basically saying like, look, if we don't like it, whatever kind of thing. And I remember someone saying if it's not in food supply regularly or something since a certain year, it could be deemed unfit. That sucks, but that doesn't surprise me. New Zealand, I know, doesn't have the same rules. So if you want to send the same one there, that's all good.
So we've just crossed that hill now. Anyway, we removed the betaine anhydrous, which was fine. There's no issue with that, and the momentum for that actual product now in Australia via the guys at Nutrition Warehouse is just it's building and building and building, and it's going the same way as the AB's pre-workout. We did have a bit of issue with Canada. We're in the registration process at the moment.
That's another one that takes I was told 6 months to a year to register there.
Well, we're probably about 6 or 7 months in now, and we're hopefully going to have complete registration ready to launch in Canada for January. It was meant to be September this year, but it's because a lot of our ingredients that we're registering, like Test-X, Shred-X, it's got tons of ingredients and different dosages in Canada are just like, no, we can't have that. Yes, we can have that. What's the extract of this? What's the ratio of this? They don't just want to know what the ingredient is. They want to know what the ratio is. They want to know what the extract is, where the extracts come from, whether it's leaf, whether it's flower, whether it's bud, whether it's stem. It's just, they want to know everything. So it's a very lengthy process with Canada. But again, we're making good progress. We've had to tweak the Shred-X. We've had to tweak the Test-X, some of them ingredients. Thankfully, ABE did not need amending in any way, shape or form. The likes of our isolates, they were all fine. It's just some of the products that have got a ton of ingredients in that, we've had to tweak, but I've had no effect on the performance. So yeah, again, we're looking at a 12-month turnaround for Canada.
Yes, that's what I was saying. I remember when I was first introduced to Applied, and it wasn't until a few years later that I sort of just see it everywhere. Mainstream shelves in the UK, Australia, and when I went to Dubai, it was fucking everywhere. I was just sort of and same with Europe. It just it's hard to tell how good a brand is. But again, since you just said you launched in 2014 and then saw kind of a rise in 16 was actually when I met you. I'm pretty sure it was 16. So I was kind of only just getting to know the brand. I missed the critical mass phase. I don't remember seeing that on there. So I missed a treat on that one. But the other big thing that you've done, I would say in the past year, was that you turned ABE into an energy drink. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever because the formula wasn't, it was pretty much on par. Yeah, the formula was just, and the even better part was when I got my hands on it, it doesn't taste bad because most of the beverages I've had out of the UK, like big brands, small brands, I don't know what it is. They just couldn't get it right. They all had that chalky, teeth-packing bitterness. And I thought for a while, I thought it was UK guys. I was like, is this what they like? Is this what? And then I tried your one. I was like, okay, no. They can get it right. They can do it.
Honestly, you're absolutely bang on. And we've been working on this formula because we wanted to put as close to the powder formula as possible within the can, within the carbonated beverage. It took a long time, a lot of research and development, a lot of trials, we failed so many times. And funny enough, I remember talking to Justin from Celicor. So I'm talking to, I'm at FIBO, and we're in the lobby of the hotel, and we're having a gin and tonic together. And he's asking me how things are going, and I've said we're trying to put AB in a carbonated beverage, and he just shook his head, and he said, the amount of times we've tried and failed with C4 are unbelievable. He said it's so difficult, and I said to Justin, we are at that stage now. I said everything we do, we're just not getting right. It doesn't matter what we do. We're bringing specialist consultants in from here. This guy works from Coca-Cola. We bring him here. With this guy works for Beck's or Heineken. We bring him in here. So we're bringing specialist people in, and we're saying we need these formulas to taste good in a carbonated beverage, and we just couldn't get it right until we brought the right amount of expertise and expertise mixed with these expertise, and we got it right. And now we're just building on that and building on it, you know.
I was gonna say it can't be the Coca-Cola guy, because I tried the energy drink and that was the saddest. It's my worst, my biggest weakness is when I expect something. It's kind of like when you go and you see, Transformers 1, you love that movie, then you go and see the sequel and you're like, oh, this is going to be a step up. And you're like, okay, that wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And like, I remember the Coca-Cola energy drink, I was like, they say it's Coke taste. They know what Coke taste is. They make it. Yeah. And there's just with caffeine. I'm like, this is just going to taste like Coke with caffeine. And then I drank it and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what Coke is? You make it. You guys, but who made this and said, oh yeah, Coke taste? I don't know. So I mean, and that was the thing. I tried the Coca-Cola energy drink first in the UK. I don't know how they missed the mark. And I had Grenades one. Grenades one wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, in the energy drink game, you can't make something taste good anymore because that's subpar. The bar's been kind of like protein bars. Protein bars were okay to taste like cardboard for years because they were like, that's just how good that's how it tastes. The bar's been raised, and now to be average, you have to be better than good. You have to be pretty. And Grenades wasn't like bad. It was just good. And I think Sneak's one was not that great. And then that's why when I had your one, I was going in with the anticipation it was going to suck. Like I was going with the anticipation because I was like, not only is this from the UK, the ingredient, he's got too many. He's got too much in here.
Yeah.
And then I tried it and I was like, I called my wife. I was like, try this. This doesn't suck. And she was the same. And she's like, I knew it. I knew this. And the flavors were all on point. And even the ones that I didn't think I was going to like were good. And I think it still stands today as the only UK beverage I've had that I actually enjoy. And I thought it was a big step because, again, it's not just caffeine and a little bit of dust. You've got full dose. You got citrulline. I think it's 2 grams in there.
Yeah.
Beta alanine's at 2.
2 grams of beta citrulline malate, 2 grams of beta alanine. We've got 1 gram of betaine anhydrous. We've got 200 milligram of caffeine, your taurine, your tyrosine, and then your B vitamins.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not gonna. A carbonated beverage is never going to be the same as a pre-workout. But I think, because I know Cellucor, their carbonated drink is far from their pre-workout, but then they have the RTD, which is much closer, but that's not carbonated. And from what I know, carbonated is an entirely different ballgame to try and make it taste good.
Yeah, and them guys have nailed it. The C4 can is unbelievable. For me, I think it's a really, really good, very good product. I think they've hit it out the park with that one. Yeah,
see, my thing is I'm not a big fan of the giant. Like, I do like the slim can, and you don't really get that much in the US. I know Cellucor eventually put it into the slim can, but that's more of a European thing. I noticed, like the Red Bull style. It's I know you're not drinking less caffeine, but I kind of like the idea, the thought that it's less than the big 200s and 300s. But it's good.
And that's one of the stalling points that we were at, because some guys in our office were like, the market's at 500 mil. You know, you've got your C4 kind of 500 mil. You've got your many
Bangers.
other cans, your Monsters, your Bangs. They're all at 500 mil. And I've always been, I would never go into a store and pick up a 500 ml because it's just too big, Jane. It's just, you're drinking it for forever, you know?
If you're drinking it for before your workout, I can't. I've tried and I can't. Like throwing down a full Monster before your workout, like trying to pack it all in. If I had an hour drive to the gym, maybe. But if I've got 10 minutes, it's too much for me.
Yeah, and even if it's a daily energy drink, so we market the ABE, so you can take it before a workout, or you can take it for your daily energy. Yeah, exactly. If you just want a bit, if you just want a bit of focus and a bit of energy during the day. But even still, I think a 500 ml can is just far too much. But that's just my personal opinion. I
don't mind it for during the day. I don't know, because I want it to last. I want to enjoy it. That's the thing.
Well, that's what some of the guys were saying. They want it to last. They'll sip it for over an hour, maybe over an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But for me, I just want to drink it within 10 minutes. And if it feels small in my hand, then it's a nice energy. It's a nice size energy drink for me. But so we changed it up. We went for the 330 Slim, and I think it's working for us. I think a lot of people do prefer a slimmer can, although there's a lot of people that do prefer a bigger can. But at least we're packing all of the active ingredients within the can. We're not sacrificing any of the dosages. So I think we've got both. We've got a slim can and we still got the dosages.
To be fair, I think it's a market thing. Like in the US, Bang, Monster, or Rays, they're all 500. Well, is it like 489, whatever the fluid ounces is? But in Europe and the UK, the slim can is much, much more common. You've got Nocco, Grenada in there as well. Pretty much all of them. I know NanoSubs in Germany, theirs is a slim one as well. I think it's a market thing. Like you guys, if you did it in the US, it would seem fucking weird.
Really?
I don't know. The only brand I know who makes that slim one is Cellucor, and they did that after they did the big one. But they did it, like you said, they did the 16 ounce, and then they kind of just put less of what's in the 16 ounce in the smaller one, so you do get less of ingredients, so it's not the same kind of dosages. But it's a rarity to see that small one. I tell you, especially in sports nutrition. I don't think Bang would dream of doing a small one. I know they do it for their red line cans, I think it is, but yeah, it's much more common in the UK and Europe. But the other thing is that Applied Nutrition, you have the massive range of sports nutrition. You have the on the go. You also do a pretty interesting functional food. You do protein indulgence, which still to this day I consider to be one of the most. I haven't seen anything else like it. Was there a reason? Because you could have done a typical bar. You could have done a cookie. You could have done a brownie. You could have done, but that little. How the fuck did you kind of stumble onto that? Because it's an odd build that I haven't seen replicated.
Well, you know what? Just go back to what you were saying before, and the bar's very high on protein bars at the moment. And you're right, grenades, they're probably not the best tasting now, but they were the best tasting bar. Oh, yeah. I mean, they brought out a great bar when bars were like cardboard, and they just owned the market. So the thinking behind the protein indulgence was, are you really going to compete with grenades? Because they own the shelf space of protein bars.
Point. Yeah.
And second, you've got Mars, you've got Snicker, you've got Bounty. These guys are all bringing out protein versions of their confectionery, and their confectionery is like second to none. You can't go into a store, into a sweet shop, into a petrol station without seeing their products. So bit like you with Coca-Cola, they brought a Coca-Cola energy drink out. It's got to be amazing because Coca-Cola is amazing. I thought the same with Snicker, Mars, and Bounty as they were launching them, because it was around the same time as we were developing indulgence, I think. And we were like, well, can anyone compete with them guys? Can anyone? These are chocolatiers. These have done this for hundreds and hundreds of years.
You would have thought so.
You've only got to put a bit of protein in, and they've nailed it. And that's what I thought, Shane. So we thought, okay, let's look at a bit of a different angle with the protein indulgence. Let's look at the more health conscious person, or the person that just wants a snack with a coffee, but wants a low sugar, high protein snack rather than a cake, you know. And that's the angle we went down, the protein indulgence. We took the branding a lot more soft, a lot more mainstream, and it's been a hit because it sits next to Grenade now. So we've got a protein bar, which you probably are not even aware of.
I know you have a protein bar, but I think it's I haven't tried it, but I just know that it's kind of similar to other ones, is it not? Or is it? Yeah. Exactly.
So the guys that make them for us, they probably make 3 or 4 other brands, and they put them in any. So they'll do a run of ours, then they'll do a run with another package on, and run with another package on. And what we said is, our stores around the world is going to stock Grenade. They're going to stock something that's very similar to Grenade in applied packaging. I don't know, maybe, but I don't know. But would people be stocking Grenade, but then have a protein indulgence, which is a completely different bar to Grenade? It's a completely different bar to a general protein bar. It's a more softer, more
it's a different experience.
Yeah. And that was the thought process, Shane. And it's worked for us because we sell a lot of them, and it's working for us. And it's still a growing product. And it tastes good. So we launched I think we launched 4 flavors in the protein indulgence and 3 flavors in the vegan indulgence.
Yeah,
we're
the vegan version.
Yeah, so and the vegan versions work for us a treat. I'll be honest with you, it's worked really well. But we're going to drop one of the flavors off in the protein indulgence and just stick to the 3. We're just going to stick with the chocolate caramel. We're going to stick with the chocolate hazelnut and the white chocolate salted caramel. And the good thing about it is it's something that we worked on ourselves. We started this from a kitchen trial, and we scaled it up ourselves.
It kind of looks like that when you see it. If people haven't seen it, it's kind of like a brownie, but it's got that crispy base, and then you've got like just like a layer of sort of caramel and a layer of chocolate.
So as you can see, it's nothing like our general branding. We don't use the
blue. And then, like I said, the build is just, I don't think I've seen, because even the protein brownies that you get out there, they try and replicate the brownie consistency and texture. So they all have, it kind of reminds me of like the Rice Krispie style bars.
Yeah.
But then you have, it's more crumbly, and then that layer across the top is very fudge-like, and then they kind of all mesh together. The only thing I find difficult about it is that it's crumbly as hell, which is kind of good though, because if you're buying it for low calories, the crumbs are just, that's 1 calorie, there's 2 calories gone, there's 3 calories gone. It just kind of makes it less, but it's very different.
Well, we've tweaked it since you last tried it. I think last year we tweaked it, so we made the base a little bit more thinner. We made the base a little bit more softer.
Yes, I remember this now.
You can eat it a little bit. You'll have a much easier experience eating it. And we've had good feedback on the tweak. And
I think you said when you tweaked it, you tweaked one flavor, and then you're going to do the same to the other flavors. And I remember when you said you made the base thinner, the softer, and I'm like, those are the 2 things that I probably would have wanted better if I could have made them better. Yeah. It's just because that base is the only hard part about it, really. Yeah. And then you put more flavor, and I was like, you can't fucking go wrong with that.
And that was just listening to customer feedback, and we like you said, we tried it with one flavor, followed by the second, and then now the whole range now is within that tweak. So
is there anything you guys have planned, I guess, to do that you would probably want to share, whether or not you want to drop a hint or anything? Because when you did ABE, obviously that was a while back, but then that came after critical mass. Then you had the protein indulgence, which I'm pretty sure was 2 years, a couple years after the ABE. And then you did the ABE energy drink, which I would say, like I said, that to me, that's the biggest thing since ABE and indulgence. I have to imagine you're one of those people that has like a laundry list of things. You're like, we'll work on this. This is still in the oven kind of thing, because you're due for another big one. I'm assuming.
Yeah, and you're right. Our NPD pipeline is just full, and it's where I spend most of my time now. Obviously, we've built a good team here at Applied, and there's a lot of pressure took off me now. From what I was doing on my day-to-day running.
Are you still going to be cutting the bars at the events though?
100%. 100%.
I tell the story to everyone. Like I actually tell the story so many times, and people say things like, "Oh man, it's really nice when people get to see the guy behind the brand, and he's out in front meeting people." And I said, "I'll tell you a story. When I already known this guy Thomas from Applied, but there was one time, and he got an award, and there were models outside your booth at the Dubai Muscle Show. You had people talking to customers, and then I had to give you the award for best booth there." And I remember saying, "Where's Thomas?" And I'll ask him, "Where's Thomas?" "Oh, I asked that person." So I think he's upstairs. And I'm like, "Oh, he's probably just relaxing." And I go upstairs, and then there's you cutting your bar into like finger-sized pieces to sample. And me and my wife stood there at the stairs, and we were like, "The fuck is he doing? He has 20 people downstairs that could be doing this?" And we said to you, "What are you doing?" And you're like, "Just cutting samples." I was like, "The fuck, man." You have people and I tell this story to everyone. I was like, and he's the guy behind that Applied Nutrition. And they're like, oh shit. And I was like, yeah, he's not out there in front of everyone. He's doing the job that all those other people probably should have been doing. I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
It's funny because, you know, when I think it was that actual Dubai Muscle show, when we were bringing our goods around from, we had our goods stored at a warehouse around the corner, but we'd already pre-shipped for the show.
Oh yeah.
We had I think we brought about 15 pallets, overkill as usual. And so we're bringing the stuff around, and the guy's just slow on the forklift truck getting the pallets. So I'm in the forklift truck, I'm taking the pallets off his and everybody's going, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Well, it's just, I don't know what it is. I've just got to be involved at every stage.
Yes, it's like I said, it's you don't always see the effort that goes in behind the brand, and when people say things like, "Oh, you know, you want the owner to be out in the front," and I'm like, sometimes you do, but then sometimes you like to imagine that he's behind the scenes working his ass off, cutting bars into like fucking millimeters or whatever the hell it was. That's never the case, but I saw it with my own two eyes. That was the case that day, and I remember seeing it. But yeah, I suspect that there's a lot of things in the pipeline. Are you guys looking at, because the thing is, when you did ABE, that was for a very different category to mass gainer. When you did functional, that was very different again from pre-workout, and then the beverage, that was a big format change. Do you guys, are there any areas or formats that you see that you haven't reached? Because the applied lineup is fucking giant. It's huge.
Yeah, and that's exactly where our MPD is now, Shane. We're looking at areas where we're not strong in. We're looking at areas of focus that's growing, that we don't have products within. So, for instance, the low calorie syrups and sauces, the Fit Cuisine range.
Oh yeah, you just did that. Yeah, shit.
Yeah. So we've just recently launched the Fit Cuisine range. I think we started with 10 syrups and sauces. So
that's more of a. I felt that was a different brand. I didn't even know if your logo was on there. Is it?
Not really. No. On the back of the labels, it's like Fit Cuisine by Applied Nutrition. And the reason why that was strategic, because the reason why we chose that is because we feel that the mass consumer that uses the low calorie syrups and sauces, they're not really a sports nutrition fan. Most of them probably don't even go to the gym. Most of them are just walking down the aisle in Morrison's and just decide, you know what, I'm probably going to stop using the ketchup that I use that's got like 20 grams of sugar per serving. I'm going to use this that's got 0 grams of sugar. So we wanted to make it a more friendly, more widely usable, a more widely friendly brand. And that's where Fit Cuisine come in. And we're growing that the Fit Cuisine brand. So we just, like I said, we launched with 10 syrup flavors, and we've just released another 20 now, 18 to be precise. So they will go live at the end of this month. And within the Fit Cuisine range, we've also got peanut butters being released at the end of this month. We're starting with a crunchy and a smooth, and then next month we'll follow with a chocolate, and then we're just going to keep growing from there. We also have Espresso Shots. The Espresso Shots are an interesting little product. It's a nice little product, quite niche. So it's dairy and lactose free, contains no milk whatsoever. And it packs about 100 milligram of caffeine. I think we achieved from the shot. We use green coffee bean, and it's a nice little product, and it's going to be part of the Fit Cuisine range. And this little niche Fit Cuisine range we're just going to keep packing it out until we think, you know, it's full enough, because it's a bit skinny at the moment. It's a bit slim at the moment. So then we're looking at other areas as well, Shane, like endurance. Endurance has always been something that I've personally been interested in, and we actually do some isotonic energy gels now, velocity gels. And
you're kind of one of the only ones that I know that does it, I guess, in the mainstream market, because when I first met you, that was what you gave me, ABE gels, and I was like,
energy gel,
the fuck is, I know that I know of the format, but I was like, why is he putting this in it just was such a foreign thing. The only time I experienced it was the goo gels. That was kind of the only brand that I had known of, and then this came along, and I was like, I was about to squeeze it, and I was like, wait, hold on a second. he's put pre-workout things in this. I remember that, and yeah, because you had the velocity gel you've added since.
Yeah. So the ABE gel is obviously the pre-workout. It's just that we feel it just maybe a more convenient way of taking your pre-workout. You have them in your glove compartment of your car on the way to the gym. You take one sachet with you, and it's worked. It's like you said, a lot of people share that perception of the gel. They're like, it's a bit foreign because normally you take it in a sachet or you take it in tablets or a powder. Or an RTD, but the gel format of it does work. It does have a place. But the main reason for the gels is the endurance. So like your isotonic energy gels, like your Velocity, which is just your carbohydrate gel. Then you have your Velocity Plus, which is your carbohydrate plus caffeine. So we launched them a couple of years ago. I don't know whether they explained it, but it's something that we produce in-house ourselves. We have the gel machine. We have all the vessels. So it was a big investment for us. And we thought we'll just bring out an energy gel and we'll start competing with the market leaders. But it's just not like that. The endurance consumer is a different beast.
It's
a different person.
I know that when I was a competitive swimmer when I was brought up, and I know that it's kind of like how some people will refer to a product as the brand name.
Yeah.
Like they'll sort of say like one I was brought up with is Twink, like whiteout. You'd use to when you're in school, you'd use it to cover, but people just called it Twink. But that was the name of the brand. That wasn't the name of. And sometimes you get things in the endurance market when swimming, they'll be like, I'll grab a goo gel. It wasn't a goo gel. It was an off-brand one, but they always referred to it as goo gel because that was, and you get that with a lot of categories where it's just like, you could come up with a superior product, but you're just going to be talking to a brick wall. Like, look, you're not the one we know. You're not the one we're familiar with. I don't care how good it is. We're going for the other one. And some markets are really difficult like that.
Yeah, and exactly what you've just said now, that's exactly how the endurance consumer thinks. They're loyal to a brand, and it's normally the brand that was first to market for that endurance user. And no matter what you have, they refer to your product as that brand.
Yeah.
And which is heartbreaking to hear, but you are right. But we're not giving up on it. So we launched the Velocity Isotonic Energy Gels a couple of years ago, and then we realized, okay, we're not hitting this endurance consumer here. Why? So we've gone out to markets, we've asked endurance users, we've done surveys, we've done all our market research, and we realized that the endurance user, they like to think of themselves a bit different to the sports nutrition gym goer, you know. Or your average health and well-being gym goer. Your endurance user is, I don't like to say the word, but the feedback that come back from our surveys was they like to see themselves as a little bit more elitism.
They want something for them.
For them, so they want. So they don't want a sports nutrition brand giving them a gel. They want a dedicated range.
Kind of like the fit cuisine thing. You kind of want it, yeah.
So they don't want a product extension from a sports nutrition brand. They want a complete full range that satisfies all of their requirements. That's for the endurance human, that's for the cyclist, the triathlete, a runner. And this is what we've done, and this is what we've come up with. We've come up with a complete range that's completely separate to the sports nutrition applied range. It's just a complete endurance range. It's all Inform Sport tested, which a lot of your endurance athletes require. We've got a product for every single requirement, from a pre-workout to an inter-workout to a post-workout to a general health and well-being to joint support, all for the endurance user. And we're going to start launching that in August, I think, Shane. So that's an interesting space for me, and it's a space that I've wanted to hit for a long time. And like I said, I got it wrong 2 years ago. I've made mistakes along the 2 years, but I'd like to think now that we've got the market research that we've done and the effort that we've put in, I think we have got it right now. Touch wood, God willing, we've got it right, and we're going to launch with that in August. So that's another area that Applied Nutrition is venturing into, as well as your sports nutrition. We've got your local sources, your functional foods, and then your endurance side of things. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, Shane. The MPD line is full. You mentioned cookies before.
Jesus Christ.
So we're just about to launch our critical cookie.
Oh, wow.
Bit of a Lenny and Larry style, not too healthy, high sugars, high carbohydrates, high protein, but tastes very good.
You know what? It's sometimes, I mean, But the Lenny Larry cookie is super high calorie, if I'm not mistaken. It's like 350, 400 realm.
Yeah. Yeah.
What, are you sitting in there, or are we talking?
We're sitting in there. So we've got it. It's 85 gram cookie, but we follow the same path as your Lenny and Larry. So we say
so it's kind of half. Yeah.
With half. But per cookie, we're up at 390 calories. We're up at 16 gram of fat, 40 gram of carbs, and 20 gram of protein per cookie. So it's more of a,
But to be honest, it's not like Lenny and Larry's. I think they kind of did the opposite. They came out with their big calorie cookie, then they came out with their I can't remember the name of it, the more recent one where it's more protein bar macros. I think it's like 20 grams, 220 calories and stuff like that. Actually there might be 18 grams of protein, but it's a much leaner cookie. You guys already have the best offering in that 20 gram protein, 220 calorie range. So this kind of, I mean, you have the freedom. If people want something slightly lower calorie, I guess you've got other options. But damn, I mean, I bet that tastes good.
Oh, I'm going to send you some today. You'll like
40 grams of carbs is going to taste good. That's
I actually left the sugar content out. Would you like to know what the sugar content is?
Is it 35?
No, it's not that heavy. It's 27.
Okay, you're making it sound like it was gonna be 40.
But it's a good product, and we're pumped about it because there's a huge market and a huge demand for high protein products that are not necessarily low sugar, low calorie, low carbohydrate. A lot of people don't care.
Grenade has that with a couple. I mean, what was it? I can't remember what product they have that's this same kind of approach. And Halo Top has it as well with their in the UK. You get the Sparkly Platinum series. Same approach. It's higher calorie, similarly high protein, but I would sacrifice the 150 calories for something that tastes good, so I don't mind.
And me personally, I'm exactly the same. But like you said, we've got the offering of your low cal, low sugar, high
have
protein,
all areas covered.
We've got the offering of the other side, so it's not like we're pigeonholing ourselves into one area, But we've got tons.
It sounds like I got more than enough information that I wanted. So, I mean, as I said, thank you for taking the time and chatting. I look forward to catching up with you whenever the next event is that we can actually attend. But yeah, man, awesome, man, and I look forward to all the launches. I was expecting you to confirm one, but I guess we got the whole bag, so I'm excited for the next few months.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, thank you, and I'll definitely have to get you on later down the road for what will no doubt be more launches and products to talk about.
Most definitely. It's been a pleasure. Being on, Shane. I'll send you some cookies out. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, I look forward to catching up with you very, very soon.